Everybody, what's up? So I want to talk about a movie that I enjoy that I think not a lot of people do for reasons like they've heard how bad it is, stuff like that. And I'm waiting for my DVD copy to come in. I just found one at a reasonable price, and that is Plan 9 from Outer Space, which you can tell by the title. So why do I like Plan 9 from Outer Space? It's when you read about it, you do find out that it was an indie film, which is something I've not seen anybody really talk about. And you can tell because of the way, like there's scenes everybody's heard about where, gravestone falls over. There's, like different stuff where you can tell like wires and that. But that's the thing. Back then, special effects aren't what they are now. And even today with indie films, you have to look at it for what it is. They only have so much of a budget. You work with what you have. Even if you can't find major backers, you still have it. You know, um, another indie film that has a cult classic that really almost didn't get shown, but it got picked up was like Donnie Darko. It has a cult following. It's a little bit better than Plan 9, obviously different reasons, but to me, it's kind of like that same line. If a company didn't pick it up, and actually the funny thing is, it actually became a movie ran on TV. So it was almost like a direct-to-video type thing at that point. Um, and one thing is, if you ever hear the name Ed Wood and you've heard so much thing about it, your first thoughts going to go like, that Plan 9 from Outer Space movie that I've heard a lot about. Watch it and form your own opinion. Listening to somebody talk about it is a lot different. Um, if you've ever watched old horror films that have Bela Lugosi in it, for example, that was actually Lugosi's last movie. He died during the filming process. So they had to get a stand-in. So basically, that's why Lugosi's character you only seen like this, but nothing else, is because they had to get a double, and they had to hide the fact that they did. Um, it's kind of one of those interesting movies. It almost feels like it's one of the ones that tried picking up on the narrative about nuclear war, the atomic bomb, stuff like that, but it was like kind of like a different element to it. Could it be remade today? I don't think so. I mean, if we look at a lot of different movies that were made during that era, not era, era. I'm not going to edit that out. Screw it. This is my take on it. Um, you do see that, yes, in today's society, it cannot be redone. Now, one movie that I haven't seen, I kind of want to see both versions. I haven't had a chance to. I know Nick is a little older movie, and I have the first one on DVD. Some cheap to buy Blu-rays at times. Is The Day the Earth Stood Still, which is probably one of the few older movies that a remake, and I think it has Tom Cruise in it. I'm not positive. I'd have to double check. But the newer version is just something I just couldn't see myself, watching. And it's kind of one of those odd things. And the reason I thought about it was I have a copy of Tim Burton's movie Ed Wood. I'm like, oh yeah, I needed to replace my copy of Plan 9 from Outer Space for a while now. I had it on VHS. I was on eBay, found a good copy of it. Well, like new copy of it. It'll probably come on Saturday. Sorry if I take a drink. Sinuses have been acting up. But yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think people give it enough of a chance to actually watch it to form their own opinion. Anymore, we have all these YouTube channels that talk about the older movies, and people are like, "Yeah, it's an old movie." They say this or this, and I'm not going to give it a chance. A lot of these movies have a cult following. On Rotten Tomatoes, they said it's a movie that's so bad it's good. There are a lot of movies like that. And what people don't know is that Wood made a movie called Jailbait. Don't go there. It's not like that. That had Steve Reeves, who played Hercules and a few other characters. It was his first big acting role before he went into Hercules and other movies. And it was one of the few movies where he actually uses his own voice. From what I understand, a lot of the Italian films that he did, his voice was dubbed. by somebody else. So yeah, you gotta give it a chance. Obviously, Plan 9 is the only movie you've seen. There are a couple I'd like to see, but we we can't go based off of what YouTubers think. This is just my own opinion on the movie. Sometimes we need to see it for ourselves. And when I first watched it was I'd seen Ed Wood on VHS. This is years and years ago. And I remember seeing a copy of it. I don't remember what store it was at that time. And I picked it up and I enjoyed it. I watched it a few times. But it was the movie that Burton made that got me interested in it. It's not perfect, a lot of these movies never were. If you, even by today's standards, there's some, you know, independent films that wouldn't see the light of day unless, a company picked them up. I think it was Drew Barrymore who had faith in Donnie Darko, and that's how we got it, or she picked it up to have it shown in theaters. Not a big run. You don't see it that much, but like a lot of movies that are independent, even like in the old days, they had limited runs. Basically, things that were major studios obviously got in the theaters. Nothing's perfect, even in filmmaking today. But back then, you had claymation effects, you had different stop motion, got people in a weird Godzilla suit. Even, that's like if people can look at indie games and they'll still watch indie movies from today, there is that subset. We can look at cult movies and go, I can kind of see why it was this way. Form your own opinion. If you ever watch it, don't go in with this mindset of, oh, this YouTuber show is bad. Oh, hey, look, there's that scene, blah, blah, blah. Look at it from the perspective of someone who's never seen the movie. Forget everything you've seen that a YouTuber said. Like I said, I never heard of it until I watched the Ed Wood movie. And then I read one of the books written about him. I got a better sense for the movie and why he made it. Unfortunately, I don't have that book anymore. There's a long list of situations behind it. And anywhere to get a copy of that book, it's expensive, so I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, and I don't know. I wish people would give it more of a chance. Shoot, watch Burton's movie, Ed Wood. Just kind of get a feel of it. And I know, and if you think about it, Mystery Science Theater has actually gotten a lot of people to watch a lot of these movies that are considered bad, where they riff on it, but you're interested in it. You might watch and go, wow, this is actually good. What was it? The Magical Sword. I seen Mystery Science Theater, watched it, and I'm like, hey, this is, let me watch this movie. And I didn't think it was bad at all. Obviously, a lot of people are going to say that. But that's just my take, it is worth watching. I mean, Tor Johnson, he plays a detective and later a zombie in the movie. That whole thing about bringing people back to life, I don't really fully understand why they had to do that, but it's one of those weird things at the time. And he was a former wrestler, and I don't remember if he was still one at the time that the filming was going on. He started a lot of stuff. They were bit roles, but still, there's such an impact that he had on that. He was just one of Wood's regulars after a while. And Wood did give Bela Lugosi a few roles because he liked Lugosi. He had influence on him. So it's one of those things you have to, if you have to kind of look at a standpoint. It was a monster movie ish, outer space, aliens come down to Earth. There's so much stuff. Was talking about the human race destroying itself that we people were thinking about. Godzilla originally, if you hear talk about it, was originally about the problems of atomic war. So that's just my take. I'm not gonna edit anything out because I've made a few versions of this, and this is one I'm happiest with. A lot of other things have happened, so yeah. That's it, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.